Further, the customers in general, not just the rural customers, we have also some instruction. I am sharing them with the member of the house because we want these instructions to be implemented. But if there are some lapses or some omissions, then we can bring them to a notice so that they can be implemented. That is why we are making these instructions known in public to facilitate regular and periodical interface with customer. Bank observe Customers Day on 15th of every month or the following working days. If 15th happens to be a holiday on that day, the chairman, the managing director, or regional manager make themselves available at their office between 3 and 5 to meet the customers without any prior appointment. Such meetings are intended to attend or access the quality because it is believed that it is not sufficient to have schemes. It is not sufficient just to work here. It is necessary that the whole machinery and the people who carry out these schemes should be alert to the rural thrust of our economy and to the banking sector. They should be alert towards the needs of the weaker section. Therefore, these formulations and programs should be monitored at a higher level. I am monitoring it at the highest level under the instruction of the finance minister. I am doing that and I will continue doing that as far as possible, even during Parliament session, also visiting every state. But then one man cannot do all. All ministers by themselves cannot do. Officials of the government cannot do. Bank cannot do. We need the vigilance on the part of all of us. Therefore, we welcome parliamentary democracy and we also wish your corporation in seeing that something sets it right. I take this opportunity to maintain an allied sector, which is the insurance sector. We have nationalized both life insurance and general insurance sector. We have both insurance sector given the trust for the rural areas and for the weaker sections. We are now on the threshold of launching LIC into social security scheme. LIC will also announce group insurance scheme for those sections who work on daily wages, so that 50% of the insurance premium is met from the social security fund. Start. Madam, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to draw the attention of the House to a matter of grave concern. Newspapers have reported that there was a rocket attack on the Central Reserve Police Force in Punjab. It is a sad thing that we have come to terms with violence. I would like the government to examine what was the cause for this. What is a rocket attack on the Central Reserve Police Force? We must take cognizance of this. This means that there is an upgradation in the kind of weapon system the terrorists have available to them. What was the government doing regarding this, and the implication it was towards Parliament, the people of this country, and particularly the people of the state? We have repeatedly known that there are weapon systems flowing into the state, and the government did not do anything about it. Pictures have been published in newspapers with terrorists having in their hands weapons like AK-47, machine guns. Government did not do anything about it. The Home Minister did not make a statement on the floor of the House or give an answer or explanation as to how these are made available to the terrorist. We have got picture published regarding this issue. No cognizance has been taken of that. Here, the police have been attacked by a weapon system beyond their reach or comprehension. This is not fair. It is not just that members of Parliament sit here and pass bills. This has a directed bearing on the security force. People who are on the spot and who have to come to terms with them and face them. How are our security forces equipped? Are we equipping our security forces with similar weapon system? Are they having that range and reach with their weapons? No, the terrorists have it. So these things give rise to other questions like the following. Where are these arms coming from? Has the government an answer for this? Are they making an effort to learn about it? Will they be able to answer this House about it? Secondly, what action is the government taking to stop the inflow of these weapons? Do they have any system by which they are going to buy them? What is disturbing is that this House had to empower the government with Article 249. The purpose of intervention, Mr. Vice Chairman, is to point out that this year we are celebrating and we have celebrated 50 years of attainment of freedom. This is the most valuable achievement which must be cherished and strengthened. But along with this political freedom, we have attained in a large manner economic freedom for all sections of our people, particularly for poorer section of our people. We have attained this, and this is unique in the whole world, unique for developing countries. The progress that we have made, there has been the parliamentary form of democracy, assuring to every individual the fundamental right, assuring to every individual the fundamental right to send a representative to this august House, the right to debate and the right to dissent. And this is unique in the history of the developing countries, unique in the history of the world as a whole. I would like to give the House some of the economic indicators which will show the progress that we have made in the economic field over the last few decades. The per capita net national product has increased. That is, the net national product has increased by more than 4 times during this period, and this has been done by this government under the Congress policies and with a particularly democratic process throughout ours, being one of the most vibrant parliamentary democracies in the world, under the leadership of our leaders who incidentally were their leaders also at some point or the other. I am happy to say this because most of the members of the opposition have been member of the Indian National Congress at some point or the other. The index of industrial production has risen. This has been tremendous progress on the industrial front that we have made in just 50 years. The index of agricultural production, with which many members of the opposition and some of the members of the ruling party are concerned, and rigidly so, has increased too. There has been a lot of criticism here that we are wasting money in revenue expenditure, that we are not forming a capital, we are not able to build up assets, gross domestic capital formation as percentage of gross domestic product has increased from 10 in 1950 to 23 till date. This shows that there is a constant progress in our industrial sector and our agricultural sector. Start. As far as general insurance is concerned, I would like to mention here that it does not exactly relate to the rural insurance, but I must mention here because just yesterday I reviewed this program of adalats for the cases of motor vehicle accidents. I know how much hardship sometimes people feel who are victim of these motor vehicle accidents have to undergo in order to get some compensation. Now, GIC has decided and has already held some adalats where there is interface and victims are paid immediately, and this has created tremendous benefit, and we want to extend this. Just to give what we have done in this regard, between January and August. More than 4,000 complaints of motor vehicle accident cases have been settled by Lok Adalat. From August to December, we had kept the target of 6,000 cases, but we have actually settled 16,000 cases and thereby paid more than rupees 50 crores by way of disbursement. But it all depends on the parties to agree to the compensation. If they do not agree, they can always go to the court, but there is no fixed scale of compensation. It depends on the nature of accident and circumstances of the case. But going through the Rural Trust of General Insurance, a group insurance scheme for landless agricultural labor all over the country, has been created. The entire premium will be borne by the Government of India, and if any landless agricultural laborers die in the course of his work, his family straight away will get rupees 3,000 without payment of any premium. I must, however, say that we have several other schemes for general insurance like cattle insurance, hut insurance, a new scheme that we have introduced, and if the hut of a landless laborers gets burnt by accident, immediately he will get some compensation. If his cattle die, he will get compensation. Now, I must admit, and here I seek the cooperation of all the honorable members, that in respect of many of these schemes, there is no awareness as far as potential beneficiaries or target groups are concerned. Now, a landless agricultural labor who is there in a village and who does not know that a scheme exists, if he dies through, he is entitled to compensation. More often than not, the members of his family are not at all aware of it. Start. I would like to conclude on this note that we have had made substantial progress, of which all of us must be proud. The government should be proud, and the people of this country should be proud. The opposition also should have deserved measure of credit because many of their suggestions are taken by us, and we will continue to do that. Now we must keep on implementing this, and on this implementation your involvement is necessary. But what is more important is that in the heat of political argument, we should not create a climate of democracy, despondency, which is entirely unsatisfied. We should not reduce the faith of our people in themselves because these are their achievements. And if we face these challenges with confidence, our people will definitely overcome the great challenge ahead, and we shall succeed. I am surprised that he should put this type of a question. Let me say this, that whatever debt servicing we are honoring is not out of borrowing, and it is not 50%, it is roughly 20% of our money that we earn out of exports, invisibles, tourism, and so on. And fourth, this money also we have borrowed. We have borrowed from the IMF in the earlier period up to 1984. Mr. Verma said that we are borrowing money from abroad and paying it. This is not correct. It is our own money, and it has been put to good use. About internal borrowing also, there is no such question. What are we doing is to create assets. We have to moderate our industry. We have to improve the lot of our people, and we are doing these. We are borrowing very consciously and for productive purposes. There is no reason why he should have such a thinking. You know that you have a revenue defect which is larger than the total defect. By definition, this means that you are going to resort to defect financing or borrowing in order to finance your consumption expenditure and not for productive purposes. This is my definition. How do you controvert it? This is a government document. I will read out this so that he may not have further misgivings about this. This is a statement laid on the table of the Rajya Sabha in reply to a question. I am very happy that the Honorable Minister has announced various incentives to the farmers. I talked to some of them, but it seems some confusion is being created sometimes, and I give you the example of Tamil Nadu. Our honorable member and Congress president of Tamil Nadu had gone to Tamil Nadu and he accused Mr. Singh of working inside the government as an agent of the capitalist and imperialist forces and exploiting the situation. And the further said that the last two budgets presented by our Prime Minister and the Finance Minister have sought to correct the distortions and deviations. What I am trying to say is that somebody else presenting the budget, it is the Congress budget, but I would say is that there is a certain direction, whether it is presented by Mr. Singh or by somebody else. The essential things is that it should be beneficial to the pupil. I am happy the Honorable Minister has introduced various new schemes and he has tried to do his best in the present circumstances. I congratulate him. I think in his budget speech for 1.5 hours, he was stating about the various incentives, and 1 hour he devoted to incentive to farmer, to small scale industry, etc. So, if I have to refer to all that, it will take long time for me to repeat. I am happy that under the present circumstances, he has done so much for the agriculturist. Finally, I would say that whatever kind of subsidy you give to the farmer, you have to ensure remunerative prices to him. Unless you give proper price, whatever you do to help him will not be of much use. I am sure the agriculture prices and cost commission will arrive at the proper price which should be given to the farmer, and unless a fair price is given to the farmer. Lot of the farmers cannot be improved. They have to spend more on inputs. They have to spend more on so many other things, and they have to purchase also. Therefore, it is essential that they get a fair price for their produce. I have one more request to make. It has been said that the export duty on coffee is going to cripple the coffee industry in the south. I hope the Honorable Minister will exempt the ministry in respect of export duty. Sir, the general budget is a reflection of government's drive and direction on economic front. I think this budget should have a positive direction. This budget lacks positive direction and initiative towards arriving the realistic goal. Of course, there are many kinds of promises. For example, the Garibi Hatao slogan. The present budget is replete with various types of concession and thereby attempting to prove that the budget is by far the soft stone ever presented in the House, but the pre-budget hike in different essential commodities has already hit the pupil. Today, railway journey has become costlier. Similarly, telecommunication rates and petrol prices have also been increased. Even life-saving drugs are beyond the reach of the common people. Sir, I would like to say that the annual budget can never deliver goods if the planning process is not down to earth. Indian planning over the years has been marked by urban peace, and consequently 90% of the Indian population cannot be benefited by this sort of planning. So far as irrigation is concerned, Assam state stand at the nadir. During plan period, a large number of states have brought over 50% of their cultivated area under irrigation, but in Assam, hardly 13% of the land is brought under cultivation and hardly 45% of the crops are brought under irrigation. There is one Brahmaputra board, but finances are not yet properly given to it, and there is no provision for shortage of irrigation project. Moreover, power and irrigation facilities are the major input for development. Assam has immense resources, immense potential, but these are not properly exploited due to lack of vision of the planners, and that is why the northeastern state, including Assam, remain still backward. Sir, the state's domestic product increased only by 3%, while per capita state domestic product was minus 3%. This is because of the tremendous population growth due to migration to Assam. Assam continues to be much behind the rest of the country in terms of not only per capita income but also electricity consumption, irrigation potential, created rural drinking water supply, roads and railways, and credit deposit ratio, etc. And sir, what is more deplorable is the fact that Assam is the lowest among the northeastern in per capita plan outlay throughout the country. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I gladly welcome the budget, which is rural oriented and is also aiming at relieving the poor section of the country. Sir, the budget could be assessed from the fact that we have seen of what happened last year or in the last financial year. The country had faced severe drought and flood in almost all parts of India, and we should congratulate the finance minister and his ministry for being able to work out a budget which would meet the situation in the country. I would not like to go into particulars of the budget. Many leading members of the House have criticized and many have appreciated the provisions of the budget and the policies and programs involved therein. I would like only to take this opportunity to highlight some of the problems that we faced in the backward region, in particular of the northeastern region, where I come from. Even after 50 years of independence, we find that transport is still the main problem of the northeastern region. For instance, we have in the hill states problem even with regard to accommodation in trains. I have raised question a number of times about the availability of seats for travelers from the hill state to different parts of the country. There are some railway out agencies in some capital of the hill states, but the courts allocated to them is so small that it does not even meet a very small percentage of the travelers. Poor people here have to depend on the railways to go outside their states or reason for many reasons, mainly for medical treatment, because we do not have adequate medical facilities in the region. They could not avail themselves of the air transport too, even in regard to the service of food. This reason is being locked down upon so many of the authorities, of course. These are only my observations, and I am not making them by way of complaints. Same is the case with road. In this region, we have some national highways. There is one national highway between Shillong and the rest of the state and also Bangladesh. There is one bridge constructed 80 years ago by the British government which could permit only trucks with 10-ton load. But now the traffic has increased and trucks of 20-ton load ply frequently. Start. The overall indications of economic performances have been better than in any previous year of severe drought. This is because of the plans and programs of the government under the leadership of Shri Rajiv Gandhi, our party president, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Finance Minister, this time has viewed the grievance of all sectors of levies and tried to redress it up to maximum possible levels against all odds of the resources, mobilization and non-planned expenditure, besides effort of the opposition parties of destabilization of our government. I am happy for conceding to our request of extending transport subsidy to all hill area for LPG cylinder by the Honorable Finance Minister. But I would request that this subsidy be made applicable for industrial production also in the hill area as well only for a small scale sector, because medium and large sector get concessions in bulk purchasing. I appreciate the abolition of taxes on properties and surcharges on wealth tax to mobilize the resources This policy is a clear indication of a welfare state which will raise the standard of living of the pupil. Regarding tax policies, I would like to mention for implementation duties, libel and surcharge, a central excise and customs duty on goods used by 100% export oriented units, the goods of Indian origin used by these 100% export oriented unit may be exempted for surcharge, etc. However, surcharge of 5% on foreign goods used by export oriented units may be levied, but full time reimbursement of countervailing duty and surcharge on auxiliary duty may be exempted so that foreign capital in Indian industry is progressive to have healthy competition. Now, I would draw the attention of the Honorable Finance Minister to the problem faced by every Indian family because of social customs adust presentation of gold jewelry at marriage ceremony. I would request the finance minister to allow relaxation of baggage rules incorporating the free clearance of 1 tola of gold jewelry brought by the incoming Indian passengers only. To earn revenue, government can impose a very nominal customs duty in foreign exchange on gold and gold jewelry if more than 1 tola brought by Indian passenger. The scheme shall minimize gold smuggling and satisfy the Indian passenger and laborers coming from abroad to fulfill their social customs with the facility provided by the government. Start. Madam Deputy Chairman, the proposal regarding irrigations project including Telugu Ganga project and other power project submitted by the successive Andhra Pradesh government may kindly be cleared very soon so that people of Andhra Pradesh may progress accordingly. Regarding the education policy of the government shall provide opportunity to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe to get admission into the Navodaya schools. The education policy at the college level shall be employment oriented and the slavery of the various disciplines at the degree level shall include the slavery of the UPSC in competitive examinations. Many students from rural background are not able to secure creditable position due to their education in the colleges in various disciplines with inadequate levy, not matching with the UPSC programs of examination. Professional courses have been taken into account in the recent past, and subjects like electrical engineering, civil engineering, and mechanical engineering have been prescribed. However, the fast developing subject of electronic and communication taught at degree level has not been included in the syllabus of IAS and other allied examinations. It is therefore suggested that electronic and communication of degree standard may be introduced as a subject both for preliminary and main examination for IAS and other competitive examinations. This approach shall eliminate frustration and encourage students to take degrees in electronics. The scientific advancement in the field of electronic and communications demand as a recognition of the subject for inclusion in the scheme of examination for IAS and other allied examination. The Ministry of Home Affairs, Department of Personnel may be requested to work out on the proposal suggested herein. In the case of SC and ST communities, it has come to my notice that, in spite of vacancies having been exclusively reserved from them, the posts are not filled up on the pretext that no applicant was found suitable. This gives further mental harassment to the applicant. It has also come to my knowledge that in personal matters, managements of government organizations generally suppress the outstanding candidates for their personal gains. Madam, I am thankful to the Finance Minister for initiating suggestions for cooperative credit system, which was in the past a major instrument of self-reliance for development. I am of the view that cooperative movement should be launched for attracting rural educated technocrats. Start. Coming to education, it has been categorized under social services. I am rather disappointed with the allocation of funds for universities and colleges. Out of the total outlay of rupees 600 crores for general education, the funds earmarked for university and higher education are only rupees 140 crore. The remaining would be spent for education up to the secondary standard, including teachers training program and vocationalization of education. There are 30 universities, including 9 central universities. So, one can just imagine how 130 universities could be developed and maintained with funds amounting to just rupees 140 crore. We all know that university is the barometer for ascertaining the standard of education, the standard of teaching and research, and university is the best platform for basic research and also for training in science and technology. If the universities and colleges are neglected and are denied funds, their growth will be stunted and whole education policy will fail. The university provides us the tools for good teachers, for basic training, vocational training, and training for self employment. Teachers in the state university and colleges are not receiving the facilities, especially those who enjoyed by the teachers of central universities because of inadequate resources of the states. In this context, I would like to know whether resources of the state are any provision have been made in this year budget to meet the extra expenditure to be incurred by the states for implementing the revised pay scale in the state universities and also for college teachers. The central staff have already received the benefit of the revised pay scale. Therefore, I feel that immediate measures should be taken to reimburse to the states that the amount spent by them in the implementation of the new pay scale for university and college teachers. I would like to add a note of warning. Should the teachers start suffering from frustration and interior due to their neglect, our nation will face grave consequences. It is gratifying that grants for atomic energy research, for space research, for research in technology, research in oceanography, and other scientific areas, and technical education have been enhanced reasonable as regards health and family welfare budget. The Honorable Finance Minister must be congratulated for increasing the outlay. The outlay for family welfare has been stepped out up to rupees 600 crores from the current level of rupees 500 crores for the year 1998.